which means we are now recording. So you guys need to be either tuned in to me, your phone should be put away, your distracting tab should be closed, yada, yada. So everybody knows what I'm talking about. Let's go through the agenda real quick once everybody's in. I see 16 of us, 17, that's about half. Good numbers, good ratio, excuse me. I'm gonna take attendance real quick while you guys are doing that. You should be seeing my other screen. Perfect. All right. Out scenes here. All right. Nishka, are you here? Yeah. Okay. Cool. Thank you. Mira, Max, Elise, Haley. Okay. No, Drew. Camille, Eva, Connery. Griffin, are you here? I thought I saw you earlier. No, Griffin. Okay. And Rishi and Colin. Good deal. All right. So attendance taken. Let's get into the line project real quick. We're gonna do this at the end of the day on your way out. You guys are my last class, so you can do a full shutdown and update on your way out. Nobody else is behind you. Let's go over a couple quick things on the line project. Number one being that is the due date has been extended to Wednesday. So you can still turn it in by midnight on Valentine's Day for full credit because I was not here Friday and I want to go over vectorization, retro line, and then how to get started on the mountain logo, as well as exporting all in one spot so that you can find it at once. So I'm going to go pretty fast because it's just kind of recapping everything we've done in the previous week, but all in one spot so you kind of have a quick reference. If you're already done, if you're already finished with your 3 projects, there's some extra challenge here that you can attempt. You can do another vectorization of your choice using my method or the YouTube video method. You can do another retro line design or arrangement, messing with the colors. Or you can create your own circular logo, but we're going to be doing something like this for our next project. So I'm not going to be too, you can approach this one however you'd like, but we're going to be doing something like this as a class shortly. And then just making sure everybody's line project is looking good by Wednesday. Okay, so to open up your line project, let us go into 6-period graphic design here. This is what my OneDrive folder is looking like. I only have my retro line, my vectorize, and then the example from the video on Friday on how to export, but I'm just going to open up these 2 for now. We'll go over the checkboxes and the file extensions at another time, but for now, I'm going to just hit enter on my Illustrator files with them selected in the Explorer so that they'll start opening up in their own tabs individually. So this should be my 6-period progress. There was the car that we vectorized, and then here was the retro lines that I showed y'all how to do. So I'm not going to go over how to create the art brush again, but I am going to show you how to create the 4 pieces right here that you need to have in your final submission in order for it to have everything that I'm looking for. So I'm going to delete this whole design because I want to show you how to build these pieces from circles and from straight lines. So I'm actually going to delete these guys as well. Control S to save. Remember, you need to be in Window Workspace Essentials Classic right here. Let me turn on my little highlighter. Essentials Classic. It's going to be the way that you have access to all of your tools here. You want to make sure you got those enabled because we're going to start creating our line pieces. So if you click on this brush cup right here, this is going to have the art brush that we created as part of the retro line designs. And all we need to make all the different pieces are 2 circles and a straight tool or a straight line with the line segment tool. And then you use those like Legos where you pull off the side and lay them out however you want to create your final artwork. I'll also show you how to resize your artboard so that it fits and it doesn't kind of fold over and squish on itself. Okay, anyways, to take your line segment tool, this is the one right underneath the pen with like the little tail, the little icon like this. Take your line segment tool. And then click once, click and hold. You're going to see a line segment come off with the rubber band attached to your cursor. I'm still clicking, but if I hold shift and I spin around, it's going to snap to, what is it, a 31.5 degree angle all the way around the outside. So I just want to make a decently long line segment like this. And anytime you're holding shift or alt or you're doing anything with the mouse that also has a key, you let go of the mouse first and then the key. Because if I let go of the key first, if I let go of shift, it's going to offset my straight line pretty significantly. So instead, whenever you're using the key, you let go of the mouse first and then the key. Anyway, so I'm going to press V on my keyboard to get my selection tool. It's the one in the top left, selects entire objects. And then I'm going to click on my zebra lines in my little brush cup pop out to add a texture to this line. But nothing happens because I did not have the path selected. So you see when I hover over the path, it turns blue and the pink word path shows up. When I click on that, I get a bounding box. These are the anchor points that are making my line segment. Anchor points are those squares that we can adjust the math with. And then when I click on my art brush, it's going to apply that texture to this shape, which gives us our straight piece, which is one of 4 that you need for this assignment. To get the other 3, we're going to use circles. So if I click and drag, this is not a circle. If I click and hold on the rectangle tool, that's going to give me access to the ellipse tool. The ellipse tool, you can also press the L key and it'll pop up for you. The ellipse tool makes ellipses, but they only become perfect circles when you hold shift. Now, since I'm holding a key while I'm using my mouse, I'm going to let go of the mouse first and then the key, and then do what I need to do with the design portion instead of the creation portion. So same thing, I'm going to click on my zebra lines, my art brush number 1. For this circle, you're going to see because mine is pretty large, it's going to have this clear kind of donut center. Not clear, but donut hole in the middle of it. If yours does not, if yours looks like this, that's okay. But if yours looks like this, mine's not folding over. But your circle might be too small. That's creating a fold situation like this. This is what we want to avoid. So anytime you resize something in Illustrator, you're going to hold shift and it's going to resize it evenly. And then let go of the mouse first and then the shift key in order to get the piece that you need. All right, so with this whole circle here, if you click on it, you get access to what's called the bounding box. We're just kind of going over some vocab here. The bounding box is the visual representation of the math or the equations that are happening to make your vector shapes appear on the screen. You want to think of this like a compass because it has that north point, that south point, that west point, and that east point over here. And I'm going to click on those directions like on a compass with my direct selection tool. The direct selection tool is A on your keyboard. It is right next to the regular selection tool. When I press A, the bounding box is going to disappear from around the outside of the circle. So I can start selecting these north, south, east, west points. I'm going to click on north. You see how when I hover over the square gets bigger and it says anchor. It's pretty hard to see because I can't make the text any larger. But when I hover over the square gets bigger. You want to click on the big square. The big square is going to select that anchor point with the direct selection tool. And then I'm going to press the delete key, which is going to cut my shape in half to give me the half pipe, the macaroni, whatever you want to call it, so that it looks nice when I put it up next to my straight piece. So if I resize a little bit here, let's see if I can get them same size. It's pretty close. I don't know why this happens where they're not the same size, but anyway, pull that piece off to the side. All right, so now we have half our pieces. We're going to be efficient as graphic designers. We've already got this half piece. We just need a corner piece. So let's hold Alt on our keyboard and then click and drag. That's going to bring a duplicate out. And anytime you're holding a key, you let go of the mouse first, then the key. And we're going to do the same thing with the direct selection tool by clicking on one of the top 2 anchor points. So if we're sticking with compass, this is east or west. I'm going to click on east, and then I'm going to hit delete again. That's going to remove that anchor point. It's going to give me my corner piece that if I ever want to rotate, I can hold the shift key and it will snap to that same rotational angle that we saw before. So let's just line that up. Looks something like this. Move it off to the side. The last piece that we need another circle so that we can make the 3-corner piece. So I'm going to press L on my keyboard to get the ellipse tool. You can see that this guy gets highlighted when I press L on my keyboard. If I click and drag while holding the shift key, it's going to create another perfect circle for me. Let go of the mouse first, then shift. And then I'm going to click on my art brush. And I'm going to take my pen tool this time. Instead of my direct selection tool, I'm going to press P on my keyboard to get the pen tool. Press P. And then with this shape selected, you see I have the bounding box around this, this shape right here. I'm gonna press P, and I can follow along that path. Let me see if I can zoom in a little bit. I can follow along this blue path, which is the outside edge of my compass. And I'm gonna put my anchor point right about the northwestern spot. Make sure that it says path before you click. It's gonna add an anchor point and say shape expanded, and then you press the delete key. And that is gonna give us all 4 of our pieces. Let me just resize it a little bit here so it's about the same size. Or at least pretty similar. It's close enough. That gives us our 4 pieces that are required off to the side here. So now what you want to do with these 4 pieces is hold Alt and click and drag them onto the artboard whenever you need a copy or whenever you need to put a piece down on your design. You just hold Alt and click and drag it so that it kind of works like a toolkit instead of a design itself. Looks like a G, right? Click and drag a straight piece. If this happens, that means that the piece is in a different layer order. To bring that to the front, you just right click and go arrange, and then bring that to the front. After you right click with your middle finger, that's going to put it in front of the other pieces and allow you to continue your work there. So I'm going to Control S that so you can see that later if you need to. Let's talk briefly about vectorizing. Then we'll talk briefly about exporting, and then the time is yours to either work on this today or finish it up tomorrow because you still have until Wednesday to do that. Okay, so if I delete this with the delete key, I want to hit the trash can. I mean, double click on this and then delete that like this. Let me delete the image. Be gone. Okay, there we go. So this is the exact same setup to get this vectorized piece, but instead of drawing with our shape tool, we're going to need to get an image in here to vectorize. So to get an image, instead of just clicking and dragging, while clicking and dragging would work, you want to go up to File and then click Place. By clicking File Place, you're going to be presented with a box to pick an image to vectorize. Let's do this hand, for example. I'm going to click Place, and that's going to attach it to my cursor. You can see when I move around after I've clicked Place. Thank you. And then when I click, it's going to place my image really, really large because it is considerably larger than my 5x5 inch artboard. I'm going to hold Shift to resize that image without squishing it. So if I don't hold Shift, it gets all types of messed up. We don't want that. So Control Z, bring it back to normal. Anytime you resize something, you hold Shift. You can resize it from any of these anchor points, and as long as you're holding Shift, it will scale nice and even. Okay, to zoom back into my artboard, I'm holding Alt on my keyboard and scrolling with my mouse. And then to move around in the Illustrator window, I'm holding the space bar to get the hand tool. That's going to put our hand drawing right in the middle of the workspace so I can see it more clearly. And now we're ready for the next steps on vectorizing. Vectorizing is going to use your layers panel right here on your window workspace Essentials Classic. Remember, mine's going to be a little bit smaller than yours because of my screen. But when you click on layers, yours should look something like this, where it just says layer 1 and there's the picture on it. 2 things need to happen in order for your vectorize to be vectorized. You need to click this plus button right here that says create new layer, which is going to add a new blank layer on top. Doesn't look like anything changes, but it adds a new layer to the stack. And then the next step, you need to double click on layer 1 inside of the space where I clicked. So just this empty space next to it. You need to check this box that says template. When you check that box that says template, it's going to lock and lower your image so that you can start tracing it. But if I take my brush tool, for example, by pressing B on my keyboard, it's got a pencil with a no sign through it. It's because you cannot make any changes. I'm clicking a bunch. I don't know if you can hear it in the Zoom room, but I'm clicking a bunch. Nothing's being changed to my layer right here. So that's why we made the second layer, so that when I click on layer 2, I can start tracing around the outside of my drawing here, or my image here, which is going to leave behind a vector. It's a pretty crude drawing. I'm going fast, sorry. This, like this, and then we'll get some arm in there. Oh, that was bad. Let's try again. Control Z to undo. There we go. That's a little more like it. Okay. So I'm drawing on layer 2 because when I turn off layer 1, it's going to leave behind the path that I traced. Layer 2 is kind of like your sheet of tracing paper that goes over the top. All right. So the mountain logo is something that I want you to attempt on your own, and I want you to do it third out of these orders. I want you to start with retro line, then do your vectorization, and then do the mountain logo, because these first two lines, these first two mini projects, are designed to get you familiar with Illustrator so that you can start doing the mountain logo assignment with a little bit more ease. So to submit your assignment, you can, there's two ways that you can find this video, this submission video at least. Let me go to your Canvas. If you go to last week's thread, so P6, Monday the 5th to Monday the 9th, I accidentally put it underneath Thursday. For some reason, it came out the wrong way. But you want to look for this Friday 2/9 right here. In the replies is this video on how to arrange and export your project 1.1. You can also find it by going straight to my channel, but it's attached to Friday 2/9 on last week's thread right here, in case you ever need it. But I'm also going to show you right now. So to export this, to turn it in, you need all 3 of the line projects completed, and you need a place to place them so that you actually can upload them and export them. So you're going to go to File and then click New. Okay. It's going to retain our 5 by 5 inches from the other 2 projects. We want to increase that to a much larger workspace of 15. Oh, that's arrow keys to make it smaller. 15 inches by 15 inches high and wide. So both of these numbers should be 15. And then in preset details, instead of untitled 1, this is where I'm going to put the Canvas naming scheme. So that's first initial, last name, period number, followed by an underscore. Yours won't have spaces. Mine just has spaces so you can see. This is the project name, which in this case is 1.1. Oh, okay. I hit escape, so I have to start over. File new. 15 by 15. Come on. 15 by 15. First initial, last name, period number. So just do P number, underscore, project name, and version number. So in my case, I'm going to delete all this. I am B. Blakeney. This is period 10 for me, underscore, and then this is project 1.1, and this is V1. So I'm just going to hit enter, and that's going to give me what looks like the same size, but is actually 15 inches by 15 inches instead of 5 by 5. So what you'll do first is click on this type tool right here, this letter T. You can also press T on your keyboard. Don't click and drag, just click. It's going to make a very small piece of text where you can type your name. We're going to make it larger here in a second. It's my name, period 10, and then this is project 1.1. Now I'm going to take my selection tool. You can see this has a bounding box around the outside. I'm going to hold shift to make that a little bit larger. You can change the text by double clicking. I forgot an N in my name, for example. And then we're just going to leave that in the space here so I can see whose project is whose when you export it. To get your different projects onto this one file, you just go over to the different tabs in Illustrator, highlight your artwork by clicking and dragging a box over it with the selection tool, Control C, click back over to this tab, click in the white space, Control V. It's going to bring your artwork over. Remember, only what's included on the white space is going to be submitted, or is going to be exported, which I'll show you how to do here in just a second. I'm going to do that with Vectorize real quick. Click and drag, Control C, click over to the new tab, Control V, and then I can hold Shift, click to resize my Vectorize, put it down here in the corner. And then when I had my mountain logo completed, I'm just going to write mountain. Hold on. I don't know why that's not working. Delete that. Click, type out mountain logo. Just imagine that I've completed the mountain logo. And then I'm going to hold shift and click and drag to resize that mountain logo. Once I've arranged my 3 mini projects onto this artboard, I'm gonna go up to File and then click Export right down here. Let me give you an example with the target on there. File, Export, and then we're gonna do this top option, Export for Screens. When you export for screens, it's gonna have this pop-up box right here. The most important parts of the pop-up box are to change this word where it says Artboard 1. Double click on that and give it the canvas name. That's going to allow you to rename this. So I'm going to go V Blakeney P10 underscore 1.1 V1. Then just going to not hit enter. I'm going to click. It's going to keep that naming scheme. Don't hit enter yet because you can't hit enter until you select a file or a folder for these files to go, for a place for them to be saved. So you click on the folder, it's going to pop up your Windows box to ask where you want to save it. I'm going to go into my OneDrive, semester 2, 6th period graphic design, and then I'm going to click select folder right here. The last step to export your final artwork is to click on this export artboard tool right here. You can leave these blank. The 1X means, I'll show you what the 1X means here in just a second. And then you just click export artboard, and it's going to think for a second, and it should pop up. Yours should pop up with a file explorer that looks something like this. It's going to have your artwork inside of it. If I click on here, that's P8. So where did mine just go? Where did I just save it? I think that's not it. No, my computer's not working. But it should have a PNG right here. That when you double click on it, when you double click on it, we'll show your artwork right there. So perfect. That leaves us with 20 minutes for me to check your guys' work or to answer your questions. Remember, this is not due until Wednesday, so you still have a little bit of time to finish that up for full credit. These videos will be available by 7th period at the latest. And yeah, I'll help you guys right now. Okay. Thank you guys for listening. I'm going to wrap up the Zoom room and start saving it real fast.